The letter arrived on a Tuesday, not certified, not urgent. Just a thin envelope with my insurance company's logo in the corner, the kind you assume is a billing update or a routine notice. I opened it at the kitchen counter while the coffee brewed. "We regret to inform you that phrase has weight. You don't notice it until it's addressed to you." The letter said my request for coverage had been reviewed and denied. Denied wasn't the exact word. It was not authorized at this time. The procedure had a name that sounded technical and harmless. A series of syllables that didn't convey what it actually meant. The difference between my father walking again or staying in a chair. The doctor had been clear. "This is the window," she said. "If we wait too long, it won't help." She'd sent the paperwork herself. Imaging results, notes, assessments. I read the letter twice, then a third time, slower. Based on available information, the requested intervention does not meet medical necessity criteria. Medical necessity. I called the number at the bottom of the page. After 15 minutes of hold music, a voice came on, calm, neutral, polite in a way that suggested training. "I'm sorry you're experiencing confusion," the representative said. "I can explain the determination." "I'm not confused," I said. "My father needs this." "I understand," she replied. "According to our guidelines." "Whose guidelines?" There was a pause, just long enough to notice. "Our clinical policy," she said. I asked who wrote it. "Our medical review board. Can I speak to them?" "They don't take calls." I wrote things down as she talked. Codes, references, numbers that meant nothing to me. When she finished, she added, "You have the right to appeal. How long does that take?" "Up to 30 days. The doctor said we have weeks." Another pause. "I understand your concern." I hung up before she could apologize again. At the hospital the next day, the doctor frowned when I showed her the letter. "This happens," she said. "We'll appeal." She sounded tired. "How often does it work?" I asked. She hesitated. "Sometimes the appeal required more documentation, more forms, more justification for why a man who could barely stand might benefit from standing again." I helped gather everything. I watched my father struggle to button his shirt with hands that didn't always listen. "I don't want you fighting this," he said once. "It's too much." I didn't answer. The appeal was submitted. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. No response. I called again. This time, the representative told me the appeal was under review by an independent medical evaluator. Independent from whom? I asked. "From your provider?" She said. "Do they work for you?" "They are contracted." The evaluator had a name, but no contact information. "They're reviewing your father's records," she said. "They'll make a determination." "What kind of doctor are they?" I asked. Another pause. "They may not be actively practicing," she said carefully, "but they are qualified to assess medical necessity. My father fell in the bathroom that week. Not badly. No broken bones, but something changed after. He moved less, trusted his body less. When the decision finally came, it was another letter. Same envelope, same logo. After careful review, the denial is upheld. This one included a paragraph explaining that while the procedure may provide some benefit, alternative conservative treatments had not yet been exhausted. The doctor read it and shook her head. "They know that's not true," she said. "So, what now?" I asked. She looked at me. Really looked? "There's an external review," she said. "It takes longer." "How much longer?" She didn't answer. That night, I searched the insurance company's website. Buried in the fact was a line I hadn't noticed before. Coverage decisions are made based on population-level outcomes. Population level. I imagined a graph somewhere. A curve, a threshold. Below it, care was approved. Above it, it wasn't worth the cost. I started keeping a folder. Every letter, every email, every call log. I learned the language, experimental, not indicated. Insufficient evidence. None of it mentioned my father's name. Just his age, his diagnosis, his projected recovery range. He became data. One afternoon, while waiting on hold, I heard a click. A different voice came on. This call may be monitored for quality and training purposes, it said. Then, very faintly, I heard someone else breathing. Hello, I said. The line went quiet. When the representative returned, her tone was unchanged. But something about it felt rehearsed more tightly than before. I asked her directly, "Is there a cost threshold for this procedure?" She inhaled. "Our determinations consider multiple factors. Is cost one of them?" She didn't answer immediately. "Yes," she said. Indirectly, "Does my father exceed it?" Another pause. "I can't access that information. The external review took 46 days. By the time the approval came, the doctor didn't smile. It might still help," she said, "but the outcome won't be what it could have been. The surgery happened. Recovery was slow, incomplete. My father never walked unassisted again." Months later, a survey arrived from the insurance company. "How satisfied were you with the appeals process?" I stared at it for a long time. I wanted to write everything. The waiting, the silence, the way decisions were made without ever seeing the person affected. Instead, I checked a box, very dissatisfied. At the bottom, there was space for additional comments. I wrote one sentence. Someone decided time was cheaper than care. I never got a response. But weeks later, I received another letter. This one wasn't about my father, it was a policy update. "We're refining our clinical guidelines to ensure timely, evidence-based decisions." I folded it and put it in the folder. Sometimes I wonder about the evaluator. Whether they remember the cases they review, whether they know what happens after the letters are sent, or if, like the system they serve, they only see averages, probabilities, acceptable loss. I still open every envelope slowly now because I know what polite language can hide, and how quietly a decision can change a life without ever saying no.